Welcome to Pack Talk Podcast, episode 101, and we got a bunch of dog trainers at the table today, and I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. All right, I'm not answering any questions. I'm just asking questions. All right, which we're changing it up.
Okay.
So, first of all, we're going to go around the table. In 1 minute or less, you're going to tell me. It's not an option. You're going to tell me who you are, your background, why you got into dog training, and some of your hobbies.
All this in 1 minute or less?
We're going to start with Chris. You got 1 minute starting now.
Okay. I became a dog trainer because
my
dog.
Name first. Name first.
Oh,
Tell
my
me
name
who
is
you
Chris. I'm a trainer here at
Hi,
Canine
Chris.
Revolution Dog Training. I got into dog training because my dog Vader, he was
Well,
reactive.
hold up.
Holy,
all right,
can I'm on a time.
Let me ask you 1 minute. Let me ask you one section of the question at a time.
Okay. All right.
All right. Tell me who you are.
My name is Chris. I'm a dog trainer.
Okay.
Here at Canine Revolution Dog Training.
Well, you're more than a dog trainer.
I am a dog trainer.
You're more than a dog trainer.
Lead trainer.
Newly promoted to lead trainer.
I'm the lead trainer.
Okay. So tell me your background. What'd you do before dog training?
I was a police officer for 9 years, something like that.
What'd you do in the police force?
I was patrol, did SWAT, did investigations, did honor guard, did a lot of stuff.
Okay. Why'd you get into dog training?
Got into dog training because my dog Vader was reactive, super aggressive with other dogs, and working him with you through that developed my passion for working for dogs like that.
All right. What's some of your hobbies?
I like hanging out with my family. It's a big hobby.
Us?
Hanging out. Yeah, you guys too.
Yeah.
But I was talking about
your
my
legit
kids,
family.
like my boys.
Your actual family.
That's like required, though. Is that really a hobby?
I mean, yeah. So not a lot of people do that these days.
Well,
You know
I
what
mean, that's like family life.
Yeah.
What's your hobby, like your personal hobby?
I mean, I like firearms training, like doing jiu-jitsu. I like food. That can be a
Yeah,
hobby.
we know that.
That's a hobby.
What's your hobby? Food.
Well, we just recently found out about Chris via his wife.
This is not
that
true.
he has a candy addiction.
No, I wouldn't say it's an addiction. I
Okay.
It's under
She
control.
says things a little bit differently.
It's under control.
If you're saying that it's under control, that means you're actually addicted.
No.
That's like one of the signs of
No.
addicts.
No,
right?
I can go without if I need to.
Okay. All right. Well, we went over a minute, so now it's Erin's turn. Erin, tell me who you are.
My name's Erin. I'm a dog trainer.
Okay. Give me your background. What'd you do before dog training?
I was a teacher for 4 years.
All right. What kind of teacher?
Physical education and health, and then I coach sports.
Okay.
Few
Why'd you
sports.
get into dog training?
My house was chaos.
Is it that or Indeed?
Well, and Indeed was good. But yeah, my house was chaos. Pack structure just non-existent.
No pack structure.
No. And they knew it.
Oh, yeah. You knew it.
Yeah.
All right. Give me some of your hobbies.
Well, dog training for sure.
Well, that's work.
Well,
And
it's
a
fun.
hobby.
Okay.
He
So
asks these questions and then gives you all these stipulations.
I like hiking. I like reading.
Mhm.
I like gardening. I like eating.
Eating
I
too,
like
huh?
working out. That's fun sometimes, depending on the workout.
Fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's never fun.
Depending on the workout. Trainer workout? I don't know.
Well, last
It's
night,
kind of fun though.
talking about eating, Chris and Erin both mentioned their hobbies are eating. Last night, me and Kevin were doing some distraction work in Somerville. We walked by a restaurant. Chris and Erin were there eating.
What the heck? I'm pretty sure
they
you
were
were
also there with
You
us.
were there.
FYI.
Also pretty sure
Like
I came
we
with
went
Chris.
together, all of
I
us.
know. I arrived with Chad. That was just all over the place.
Chad likes to make things up and twist information.
All
Chad
right.
ordered queso.
We went over
Ordered
1
queso.
minute. Well, you paid for it.
Aaron ate it.
I
got her
mean,
ate-
She got her
involuntarily.
money's worth.
Erin ate most of the queso. All right, Erin ate most of the queso. Chris had most of the tacos.
Normal day.
All right, moving on. Kevin, tell me who you are.
Kevin, I'm a dog trainer.
That's Kevin right there. He can do the minute or less. He's good to go.
All right, Kevin, tell me what you did before dog training.
I was a corrections officer with SCDC.
Okay. What's that like?
It's fun.
You get poop thrown at you?
Poop thrown at you. You get stabbed. You get constantly disrespected. All for $30,000 a year.
Nice. All right.
Sign me up.
Kinda like
Why'd you
dog
get into dog training other than you didn't want poop thrown at you? At least human poop thrown at you.
Yeah, I was
Still
the
deal
poop
with
is still a
deal with the
factor.
poop thing, you know. I was just really curious about dogs. Worked next to a lot of Canine handlers. Saw them in action during my time there with the riot team and contraband team. So just kind of curious how they operate. And my dog was pretty jacked up before I became a dog trainer too. So
Oh, yeah. All right, give me some of your hobbies.
so I do jiu-jitsu with Chris and you.
And Jake.
And Jake. Can't forget about Juicy Jake.
Yep.
Getting back into the working out, getting back into that program. Like it. It's fun. And then hang out at the house, hang out with my dogs, I game a little bit, wind down, read, keep it low key.
Good
Nice.
to go. That's Kevin.
It's a good day.
All right. Before we proceed on here, Chris, tell me about when you first got to Canine Revolution dog training. The first day.
Uh-huh.
Did you do an interview or you didn't do an interview? I don't remember.
We did. We had some.
All right, what
We
was
had
the
some
interview
Waffle
like?
House meetings.
Oh, the Waffle House.
Yeah.
Food again with Chris.
Well, I mean, I think you scheduled.
Well,
that.
let me
you said,
tell you
meet
about-
me at Waffle House. I said, well, why don't we just get coffee? No, come to Waffle.
Well, let me tell you the actual story. Before Chris started working here, I was never really eating out.
Oh, here we
Chris
go.
started working here.
Here
He's
we
an
go.
ex-cop,
Here
you
we
know.
go.
He's like, hey, we got to stop for this. We got to stop for that. So I started eating out all the time. You know, kind of got out of control eating out. So that's
Could
what
have said
happened.
no. Could have said no.
He couldn't.
So you had your interview at Waffle House?
I don't know. If that, I don't know.
Your
we didn't-
talks?
Yeah, I think we just
Your
would
initial
meet,
talks?
and as we were working with Vader, we would just meet to talk about dog theory, like how everything kind of works, comes together. You know how progressions look like. So it's kind of informal back in those days. So I don't
Over
know
a waffle.
yeah,
chocolate
over a
chips.
waffle,
Yeah.
blueberry.
Blueberry.
Yeah.
Good one. Erin, what was your interview like? Well, your first day ever at Canine Revolution. Your interview. Your
My
first day
interview or
your
first
first day interview.
Well, I tried to have my interview and first day be the same, and you told me to kick rocks. But my interview was just coming here, having a conversation with you, you asking me if I work out, and then what
Critical question on the interview.
my how was the drive?
Well, if we ask like a prospective trainer, like, what are your hobbies? And they don't say working out, they're already out. Right?
Like
So
you
that's
got
kinda like
you
a trick
got
question.
to prove much more.
But yeah, we also ask, how was your drive? And if you say it sucked, we're like, you're out.
But yeah, first day, I was nervous. I started with a bunch of people though, so I was like in my head, like I have to be better than all of them.
Well, that's
A
good.
little competition,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, friendly.
You got that
Did
competitive
you start with a
spirit.
bunch of people? Oh, right, that bad. Okay.
I was like a whole batch of new TAs,
Yeah.
and then
Don't remember that.
Jordan, I think.
I had that was my first day, first little dog nip, right when I reached
really?
in the kennel. Yeah,
Oh, what dog was that?
a little French bulldog.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome.
Kevin, what was your interview like?
I just drove up
Your
and met
first
you.
day?
We did a kennel tour, and you're like, when do you want to start?
All right, good to go. All right, so we're going to jump into some questions here, and you guys let me know your answers. All right. Erin, what would you say is the most common problem that dog owners experience with their dogs, and how would you resolve it?
I feel like the most common problem is going to be anthropomorphizing dogs or communication. So how they talk
What's
to dogs,
anthropomorphizing?
where they kind of give them human traits. They pass it on to their dogs. Oh,
Like
they're
they put little jackets
Yeah.
on them, and
They're
you know,
panting heavily.
They get them like little cookies and these
yeah.
kind of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're panting. They think they're happy, or their tail's wagging. They think they're happy. So things like that, where oftentimes just that lack of knowledge and us thinking like you see an elongated mouth, you think it's smiling. Like we're oftentimes reinforcing more undesirable behaviors without realizing that. So it's just educating people as best we can, you know, helping them however we can, informing them as we get to know their dog, like what these things mean. That way, hopefully it really sets in. And I mean, it's hard because we really want to believe, or I say we, the owners really want to believe that like they're doing what's right for their dog. They have good intentions. So it's a hard transition to get them to realize that they need to change some things, I think.
Any resources you would mention to anybody trying to learn this stuff at home?
Yeah, our podcasts, good stuff. We do YouTube videos, our podcasts, or just contacting a trainer, you know, talking to them. You know, we talk to people all the time who don't necessarily sign up, you know, just kind of educating them.
Right.
So just seeking, you know, that help as best they can, and not accepting the first thing they hear, right? Like do your research. That was a big problem I had, was like you see so many conflicting things across the board for dog behavior and health and everything. And so it can be frustrating, but I feel like once you've, like me finding this company, like, you know, I didn't talk to any others, but once you feel like you're getting the right answers, it really, like, you just have that ease and that relief kind of already play in, you know. So
What makes you feel like you got a right answer? Is it because someone can verbalize what they're saying or explain in a better fashion?
You can explain it, and like, I mean, I feel like when you guys do a great job of explaining things in detail, and you know that's from experience. And so when you can kind of picture how things look across the board, you know, like I hear things and I'm like, oh yeah, my dog does that, right? And then so just kind of talking about the experience and just being honest, right? Like, it's not butterflies and rainbows all the time. Like, oh yeah, this happened, and then the next day it was fixed, right? Sometimes it's months, sometimes weeks, just depending on the dog. So just kind of learning who you can trust and like that, and relationship, right? And so that goes a long way into being like, okay, I know this will work, you know.
Right.
So
yeah, good to go. Kevin, what would you say makes a dog trainer a good dog trainer? There's a lot of dog trainers out there. What would you say are some things that make a dog trainer a good dog trainer?
I would say having the knowledge and experience to be able to adjust in real time, not sticking to, oh, this is how you dog train, this is it, it's not working, dog can't be trained. It's like, that's just not a good answer. It's not a sign of a good dog trainer. I mean, you take almost any other profession, any other trade, things are going to happen where it's not going to fit that cookie cutter mold. You're going to have to adjust. And if you don't have the capacity or the know-how or even the desire to want to better your craft and adjust like that, then you're just not going to be a good trainer.
How would a dog owner looking for a trainer figure that out? How would they figure out if somebody can adjust on the fly or not?
I mean, you got to do some serious vetting. You know, I think that our most recommended podcast is the one we did on vetting a trainer, asking them these tough questions. You know, and any profession that you seek out, if you're being thorough with somebody to give them your business, if they start getting mad, that's going to be your red flag right there to get out. You know, they're not questioning your ability to do it. They're questioning whether or not they can be comfortable enough with you, or you can provide them the service that they need. So for me, I'll sit there and I'll talk to somebody for an hour or two. They can rapid fire any question. I'm never going to stutter. I'm never going to skip or get upset, because I want them to be comfortable. But also I have the knowledge to be able to do that.
Right.
You know?
And the experience.
How
many years you been training?
I'm almost at 5 right now.
Years.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, what makes a dog trainer a bad dog trainer?
I mean, the opposite of what Kevin said, you know what I'm saying? So you can't critically think. You can't think outside the box, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's basically essentially what Kevin's talking about, critical thinking. Okay, sure, there's a general progression as to what we should do, right? What happens when that doesn't work? Oh, I should be luring this dog with food. What if they're not food motivated? What if my dog's so stressed that they can't think? Like, do you know how to troubleshoot those types of things? You know what I mean? So can you think outside the box? So not being able to do that is a big red flag for, you know, a sign of not a good trainer.
Yeah.
But also, like, I feel like there's two categories. Like, I would just say there's dog trainer and then professional dog trainer, right? So, like, there's people that are dog trainers, and those are like, hey, I can teach a dog to sit or down or sit. Like, I can teach some dogs tricks and behaviors and things like that. A professional dog trainer has a much bigger picture as to what this dog needs, how to troubleshoot things like anthropomorphism. How do you communicate that to an owner that struggles with anthropomorphism? Like, hey, I feel that my dog needs these things, these human things, right? My dog needs to be comfortable all the time. My dog doesn't, I don't want him to be stressed when there's value. Even for us as humans, there's value to be stressed, right? So a dog trainer, a professional dog trainer, has the ability to communicate all of those things, right? So if you're not able to do that, you're not a good dog trainer, in my opinion.
What about appearances? You know, you have two dog trainers walking to your house.
I mean, that's just life, man. I mean, that goes across the board. Like, if I'm talking to two people and one person's, you know, they're well taken care of, got maybe not a fresh haircut, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes my beard gets a little bit wild, you know. Yeah. But, you know, like, they look clean, their clothes, you know, it's not all wrinkly, their hygiene is decent, they don't smell like a garbage can, you know what I'm saying? Overweight, you know what I'm saying? All these things. Like, if I'm seeing somebody that's super overweight, their clothes are wrinkled. It's like they're waking up just right when the alarm clock goes in, just in time to go to work, and it's like they're always behind. They're always running late to things. versus somebody that looks very clean, well kept. They're always early to things. It's like that's in life. I'm going with that person 100% of the time because that tells me how they're going to take care of my dog. You know what I'm saying? If this person's gonna their progression's going to be a little bit lazy, they're going to be trying to take shortcuts. They're going to be running out of time all the time because they don't use their time efficiently. They don't take care of themselves, so they're damn sure not going to take care of my dog. You know what I'm saying? So appearance is definitely everything. Even you know, from the moment the car pulls up, any business that I do, I have somebody come over for a consultation or whatever. I look at, you know, their car. You know, there's fast food wrappers crumped up all over the place. You know.
Celsius cans falling out.
What, are you describing my car?
No, that's Ben's.
It's like a 95 Corolla with the window missing.
Right? It's like, I mean, and it's not even like, okay, you got to have the best, but you can tell when somebody takes care of themselves and their things versus somebody that doesn't. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the appearance definitely matters. 100%.
Should you ask a dog trainer if you're talking to them if they deadlift?
Yeah. Yeah.
How much, too?
Yeah.
Right.
How often do you deadlift?
Right.
You know?
I mean, I have a Great Dane, so they better be able to pick up a lot.
I mean, that's just coming up in casual conversation.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
And like, and you'll know right off the rip. You're like, okay, this person's in shape. You know, oh yeah, you work out? Yeah. You know, I've had people come over. You know, I had the UPS guy one time recently. He came over. He's like, he sees my treehouse gym. He's like, bro, I like the gym. And this dude's jacked. You know, so we just have a conversation.
Did you get a lift in with him, or?
I mean, I felt like he wanted to. I was like, I don't.
Is he on steroids?
I didn't want to lift with him. I'm like, this guy's gonna smoke me. But, you know, like you see that can come up naturally in conversations. Hey, you work out versus like you're like, I know you don't work out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you might not get my business.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Absolutely. All right, Erin, what are some qualities that you would look for in a veterinarian?
I went through this
It's a good
lot.
question.
I do veterinarians.
You vet veterinarians?
Yeah. I mean, I'd want to try. I want to
She's
find
got a
one
good
that
vet.
fits me.
She's got a good vet.
I do have a good vet, so I want someone who's going to communicate with me, obviously. So like a big thing from COVID, you know, we can't go in with our dog anymore. So, and to a level, like I understand, like I can't go back into the office with my dog, but
Right.
I want to be in the building. Like I want, you know, so communicating to me my options, you know, making sure that they are letting me know, you know, across the board, the positives, the negatives, you know, things that I need to know. Not just, you know, you can tell when you feel like someone's just trying to get your money, right? For unnecessary reasons. But also kind of like what Chris said, like, what is their appearance? You know, are they overweight? Do they look like they take care of themselves? Like, how are you going to make good recommendations for my dog if you can't, you know, hold yourself to those things as an adult.
Right.
But also I like seeing a consistent doctor. So are you constantly going to try to book me with someone who doesn't know my dogs? I want to see the same person. And just that they form a relationship with me, right? Like they remember the things I say, the things we talk about. I'm just not someone who walks into their office and, you know, they're like, who's Harper? You know, like, when was she last here? Like they do they're diligent.
Right.
So.
Well, they have notes on you. They review their notes before they meet with you.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you like feeling like you're known, you know,
Right.
so and that you're important. I mean, we work hard to do that. So it's nice when it's reciprocated, you know.
Yeah. Good to go.
I want to add on to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need a vet, especially for us being in the dog world. I need one that's actually going to listen to me and like value my opinion on behavior things, right? So I have two right now that I can go to that are very good. They listen to me. They let me do what I need to do. Like I remember back when I had like Lulu and Wally, I took them to a random vet just to try to start building up, you know, where they should go. And they were not letting me do what I need to do. Wally's extremely nervous. They're overbearing on him. They're hugging him, wrapping pheromone-soaked handkerchiefs around his neck. And I'm like, this is not the way to do it. And they're just blowing me off.
Yeah.
They're force-feeding him from a cheese mat. Now he's got diarrhea for the next 4 days. You know?
Holy shit.
So I need one that's going to be like, listen to me, be like, hey, this dog, you know, like I got Roxy right now. She's not comfortable with just anybody. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to keep her attention on me. I'll control her. Like, everything's good to go. And the vet that says, okay, got that, instead of, oh, no, my people will do it is, you know, red flag for me. But I value that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is important.
Yeah.
I just don't have dogs that are.
I mean, if I'm going to listen to
love
vets,
the vet.
Right.
They
If
love
I'm-
them.
if I'm going to listen to vets about medicine, I do want them to listen to me somewhat about behaviors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Humble.
Good to go. Kevin, what are the pros and cons of a board and train dog training program versus private lessons versus group lessons?
I would say that the biggest pro to board and train, that when done correctly, like the way that we do it, you can address any issue, any problem, and you have the consistency to overcome it. Versus like a one-on-one session or a group session, right? If I'm dealing with, say, bad insecurity, hardcore reactivity, that one-on-one session or that group session may not be the move, right? Because the consistency may be lacking. There may be too many factors in the environment, such as all these dogs. I mean, y'all on the podcast can see where we're at right now. If I have an extremely insecure dog that can't operate with factors in the environment, I can come to this field where nothing's happening and there's focus on us, you know? Can I have that owner do that and come out here and do that as well? Yes. But what's likely going to happen when they go home? And it's no fault to them. They have jobs, they have a family, they have all of these priorities going on. The dogs are my priority in my day-to-day. So from a board and train aspect alone, I'd say that's the number one thing to go through with any dog, just because the consistency factors are there. Now, the pros to obviously like one-on-one sessions or group sessions where it's still kind of one-on-one is you're building that bond with your dog as you're teaching them the behaviors. But through a board and train, all of that is transferable to you anyway, as long as you follow along with the transition period guidelines that we have set. So I would say cons more so for me, and I'm biased, but private lessons and group lessons, you can be successful. I don't think that you're going to be as successful as you would with a board and train, at least not in the same time frame, not anywhere near the same time frame. So I would say that was a con. But if you have the time and the dedication to do it, and you wanted to go through that experience with your dog while also learning maybe to train future dogs that you get, then that's a good pro for you. But board and train for me across the board.
What about cons to group session versus just a private session?
A group session, I would say that there's not a lot of focus on just you and your dog. It's, hey, do this. Now I have 15 other people doing this at the same time. I'm going to have varying degrees of success, right? One dog may be very engaging and very interactive and catching on quick. Another dog may need more time, but I can't stall that group session for that one dog. I have to keep it moving for everybody to stay engaged, basically. So the con to that would be some people are going to progress, some people are going to fall behind, and I feel like it's just not as a good of a setting, because you can't have that strong one-on-one. I can't see everything you're doing. If you're doing something wrong while I'm focused on somebody else, I can't correct it. Now you're reinforcing it. Now we're creating bad behaviors, you know, when we're trying to address the undesirable ones. So yeah, it's just kind of chaotic, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, what are your thoughts on the potential remote collar ban in the UK?
I don't like it. It's garbage.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, to me, it's like take a roofing company. Hey, we're going to ban nail guns. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a tool of the trade. Yeah, you can use a tool in a inappropriate way that can long term be harmful to a dog. 100%. Just like I could take a nail gun and use it not for its intended purposes and cause harm to somebody. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if there's a right way to use a remote collar, there's a wrong way there's multiple wrong ways to use a remote collar, right? So I don't think it justifies banning things. Now, we're here in America. We got a lot of freedom here. I don't like banning anything. Like, I mean, I should have the right to use whatever I want. You know what I'm saying? So I don't agree with it. I think people should just educate themselves on the proper way to use remote collars. I think it already has had some negative effects, because the remote collar can be a very, very valuable tool in helping a lot of dogs overcome certain behavioral issues that now they're getting put down. These dogs are getting killed because of slight reactivity or whatever. Or I mean, in the UK, they're killing dogs because they're a certain breed or whatever. You know what I mean? So. I think it's going to be a hindrance more than helping.
Let's say there is a remote collar ban in the UK. How can people work around that to try and achieve the highest level of training?
I'd reach out to maybe an American company that trains dogs, maybe like Canine Revolution Dog Training. I don't know. See if maybe they can ship you one personally or something. You know what I mean? Again, I'm American. I'm a rebel. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna do what's best for my dogs, regardless, across the board. So. I mean, there's collars that are built for hiding those like flat collars that the remote collar goes on the inside. So I don't know the intricacies of what like how do they regulate it? I don't know. Like I would imagine you could have somebody in the U.S. mail you one, and you can use it, but maybe you're going to get a fine. You got to be able to live with that, right? So like that's something you got to think about. But end of the day, can training be done without the remote collar? Yes. You know what I'm saying? But you got to have realistic expectations. Like the benefits to the remote collar is your communication's going to be, your timing's going to be very good. It's going to be very consistent, especially if you're talking about, let's say we're all a family living together with dogs. You know what I mean? Like our corrections, our accountability, our communication can be very consistent with that remote collar versus like, let's say we use leash corrections that might vary a little bit based on all four of us. You know what I'm saying? Or based on your understanding of accountability or what that should look like, or anthropomorphism comes into the play as well, right? Like, I don't want to correct my dog, or they don't need these corrections or anything like that. So it's like remote collars, in my opinion, make those things a little bit easier as long as the conditioning process, of course, all that stuff's been done, right? So yes, it can be done without the remote collar. You know, there's a lady from the UK that I've been talking to, you know, and she's trying it without the remote collar and has pretty good success, but is still dealing with some reactivity and stuff like that. So you just got to do more reps. You got to do more reps. I mean, I'm sure there's trainers in the UK doing all this stuff without remote collars and having a lot of success. But at the end of the day, it's a tool. It can help you.
Yeah.
So
well, the hypocrisy is that they banned those remote collars, and it's cited in the bill for the safety and well-being of dogs. And then first of the year this year, they executed thousands of dogs just because they're bully breeds. Where if they would allowed proper training or the remote collars to be utilized, these incidents probably would have never been an issue anyway, you know, to the extent that they are. So it's just like very hypocritical, biting themselves. It shows that they truly don't understand dog training. And like I said, thankfully we live in America, so
I mean we have had firsthand knowledge of people that have communicated to us situations where their dog died and it could have been saved with a remote collar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Having that community. I mean, we all know dogs have prey drive when they get into drive. You know what I'm saying? It's not about, well, your training wasn't good enough or you didn't have a solid enough recall. It's like, oh, maybe you just needed some communication in that moment and you didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? And now your dog ran into the street, got hit by a car or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When I could have corrected them for not recalling, they understand that because we've gone through this repetition after repetition, thousands of repetitions. Bam, my dog stops at a dime, comes back to me because it got an appropriate correction on the remote collar. Saved its life. You know what I'm saying?
Bad thing is there's bad dog trainers out there misusing tools, which then gives the tool a bad rep.
100%.
You know, and it's due to the improper training that's being done, not the tool itself. You know, so
the problem is those trainers are going to still be over there.
They're still going to be training.
They're still going to be training. Now they don't use a remote collar. Now they're going to be using much more physical methods.
Right.
Still fucking dogs up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, bad trainer's always going to be a bad trainer.
Right.
I wouldn't even call him a trainer, honestly.
No.
Just
a
spray
bad
him with a
person.
water bottle. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Aaron, if you are observing a litter of 2-week-old puppies, what are you looking at and why? Interesting question.
Didn't you guys just look at some puppies?
Maybe
No.
yesterday.
No.
Less than 24
I
hours ago.
touched them too.
You know, Aaron was happy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was my boost
Did you
for
cry?
the day. Almost.
That's awesome.
She was watering his eyes.
They said I could touch one, and I looked like SpongeBob. grabbing it.
She's like putting it in her pocket. What puppy?
Aaron, answer the question.
Sorry. So we're looking for, like we talked about yesterday, right? Like, where are they within their pack? Where are they within their litter? Are they all clumped up with each other? Or is there some that are separated? When we separate them physically, where do they go? What is their reaction? When you pick a 2-week-old puppy up, you're starting to kind of desensitize them to things. So things like touching their paws, their teeth, their ears, petting them, turning them towards you, talking to them, getting them used to the sounds of that, getting them used to sounds like the vacuum, things that as they get older could cause potential issues, right? Like dogs afraid of the vacuum, they want to run all over the place, or they start reacting at the vacuum. So just kind of desensitizing that. And then when you put them down, where do they go? Do they go right back to another dog? Are they cool on their own? You're starting to look at them if they're opening their eyes and just kind of taking all that in, a lot of info to kind of go through. Apparently I learned they're exposing them to scents. So making sure that they're see what their reaction is to certain smells, and just kind of getting them prepared for the world.
Yeah, good to go. Kevin, do dog breeds matter? Why or why not?
That's a vague question.
Yeah, I mean,
see where Kevin takes it.
So if you're looking for something, obviously you go with a certain breed, because you look at like what breeds have been, genetically bred for, say, security purposes over, generations, right? You're looking at like Cane Corsos, Dobermans, things of that nature. But that doesn't mean that you're going to get any Cane Corso or any Doberman or any German Shepherd and they're going to be good for the security purpose. I always reference to people like I've trained German Shepherds that when you walked into the house, they would just go hide in the corner and pee on themselves. And I've trained Frenchies that you could get on a bite sleeve, so it's all about drives and personality more so to me than breed. Now I know people have certain breeds that they go for, like, hey, I've had Goldens my whole life, right? Now you get a Golden that's like dominant, has a history. It's a little different. So it's not necessarily going to be clear cut across the board that if I get this dog, I'm going to achieve this goal with it. But if you go and vet your breeder and you do all the things that you need to do and you go through the questionnaire and you know what you're looking for, you can get the dog that you want for that purpose. But you just can't pick anyone from the shelter or anything like that. So at the core, breed matters if you have a preference or if you're looking for a certain something, but to me, not really. I look more so personality and drives.
Well, and I think to add to that too, having realistic expectations, like knowing if you want a certain breed, right, before you get into, is it going to be protection, is it going to be, whatever, or just my dog who's obedient, like what are you bringing into your home, right? Like, so we kind of talked about this with puppies yesterday, right? So if I live in an apartment with no yard and I'm a nurse who's got a crazy schedule, I'm not going to go get a Malinois puppy. You know what I mean? And so, yes, they're cute. And yes, I like their energy, but I don't have the time for that breed, right? And so I think making sure you do your research, a general research on the history of the breed is very important before you decide to take them in, because at the end of the day, that dog is going to be the one that potentially suffers or that you get more behaviors that you have to work through because you don't have that environment or that lifestyle for that dog.
Another thing is if you do get these dogs for these purposes, when you go to a breeder, you're going to pay. It's going to be a high dollar. I've had many times where my clients have been like, yeah, I was looking at these, but I got these guys instead because, they were only $800 a pup versus $3,000. It's like, we want them to do X, Y, and Z. And then you have to break to them. These dogs are not suitable for that, at least not right now. You can go through all of this, and maybe we can get to that point, but likelihood is we're not going to achieve that versus how you spent the money at a reputable breeder and did everything that you needed to do. Probably would have had an easier time transitioning into that to get the desired service that you wanted.
Well, I mean, I would apply that across the board. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's not, hey, it's not a protection dog, it's just a pet dog, just a family dog. Go to if you want to go the puppy route, go to a reputable breeder. If you're going to a breeder, I've said this so many times with clients that are reaching out. I'm like, hey, I'll help you vet the breeder. I'll help you select the puppy selection. We'll go through that whole process. It might take some time, right? You find a good reputable breeder. They're like, hey, 2-year wait list, 3-year wait list, right? But then what happens? Like, hey, you know what? I found this other one. They got a puppy right now, ready to go. And it's like, that by it, and I'm not saying to just walk away, but that right there could be a red flag. Like, hey, let's look into this more. We're ready to go. We got the puppy. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang. And then later on, there's like all these genetic issues like insecurity coming up, and which you can still have insecurity and anxiety, all that stuff in a well-bred litter as well, right? But you want to set yourself up for success as much as possible. So regardless of what the purpose of that dog, if you're going the puppy route, vet the breeders. That's super important.
I mean, even vetting a rescue. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I've trained some badass rescue dogs.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so if you just do some education or just reach out, like Chris said, I mean, we've helped people in the past. You say, hey, this is my training goals. I have this dog that I'm looking at this rescue. Can you go look at it? Yeah, we can check it out. We can put it through some tests just to see it and just to map out like what it may take to reach those goals. But I mean, any dog that you're getting, just vet. Just educate yourself. Continue to seek that so that you can make a good choice. And you're not disappointed 3 years later because your German Shepherd won't get on a bite sleeve.
But if you did. Sorry to keep the tangent going, right? But let's just let's say I made the call, because I did that. I made emotional decisions, got dogs before. You know what I'm saying?
And you made the emotional decision when you walked into the gas station and got a big bag of Skittles.
Okay, this is irrelevant. It's irrelevant to the discussion, right? So like Vader straight up was an emotional thing. Like we go to the shelter. He's just laying. He's slinking back in the corner already. Things that you could know, right? Like, hey, there's probably some potential insecurity here. We walk by. He's barking. We're like, oh, he wants to go home.
Well, you didn't know what you knew now. now back then.
Exactly right. But
if I didn't know now, what I didn't know.
but we made a
then.
call. We made an emotional decision,
Ripped
and
Toby
I took
Keith.
that. We adopted him. You know what I'm saying? So like now, he's my dog. So it's not even about like, yes, there were things like in my head. I'm like, I want him to be this badass protection dog, and I'm like, yeah, we did some of that stuff, but it's like he just wasn't that dog. So it's like, take the dog, like this is the dog I have, make him the best, make him or her the best dog that they can be to fit your lifestyle. It's like, yeah, there was a lot of things that I wasn't anticipating that I didn't want out of Vader that he brought to the table, but it's like, dude, this is the commitment that we made. Let's rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? So it is, like all these things are, knowing it ahead of time if you're selecting a puppy is big, but if you've already made that decision, like don't look at it like oh man, well I should have done this, I should have done that. Like, hey, what do we do now? You know what I mean?
Rock with it.
Yeah.
I will say when Vader got on that bite sleeve though, his grip.
Dude, he had some bite pressure.
He wasn't letting go.
He had some bite pressure. He had some bite pressure now.
Chris, what is a common misunderstanding about dog training?
A common misunderstanding about dog training.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Good, yes.
Good. Right. So
How much time you got?
yeah. So I hear this all the time, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
especially clients considering sending their dogs to a board and train, right? They're like, oh, I don't want my dog to be a robot, right? But then we come after training and there's like all this work that has to be done. And they're like, what the heck? Why can't my dog just do this? I'm like, well, so you do want a robot, right? Like dogs aren't robots. You know what I mean? So like a lot of people have these expectations of training where it's like, you just do this thing and it's good. It's good to go. Like, okay, my dog knows the sit. Now we're good. I don't have to do anything else. Now I just go and live life and I just tell them to do whatever and they do it. Like, no, that's a robot. You know what I mean? I think dog training it's a journey from start to finish. You know what I'm saying? So even if you get involved in a board and train, a good board and train trainer is going to follow up with you, continue to train with you, continue to work through stuff. But then let's say like with us, clients that do a board and train, we do several follow-up sessions and we teach them if you're doing things right, you're teaching them how to navigate life. So now if a scenario comes up, they don't need their you should make yourself obsolete as a trainer. That these people should be able to navigate life. Oh, I can use my training protocols to navigate this. Or hey, I want to get involved in this behavior, or I want my dog to do this. They should know how to navigate that because of what you taught them as a trainer. Does that make sense? Did I answer the question, or did I?
What was the question?
I do veer sometimes. I go down
Common misunderstanding.
common misunderstanding.
Common
So
misunderstanding.
the misunderstanding is that like people have these unrealistic expectations of training. Like I should just train the dog and it's done. Like it's a service for your car. You know, hey, I got my brakes fixed. They should be good. You know, and then I'll just pay to get them fixed when they run out again. Like, no, you got to maintain these things.
Yeah.
We see it all the time. Owners that don't maintain it and their dogs goes right back to what they were doing before training. But what happens when the dogs come and visit us? Boom, right back into training protocols, right? Because they're being held to these things, right? Like this is a long-term journey with your dog. And I think a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah. Even when you lay it out.
Yeah.
Because I'm all about that. You know, when we talked to clients before, I'm like, all right, here's what's going to happen after training. Here's what we need to do. Now, things may happen. We may have to adjust. You know, I can't say for sure right now. You know, I know more as I, learn your dog and everything. But then they get back, they're like, I can't spend all day with my dog.
Right.
I'm like, well, you don't have to. Like,
Yeah.
I've mapped it out for you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But some people just, can't do that.
Well, and going back to like the breed thing, right? Or every dog is different. You know what I'm saying? So like you might be let's say you're looking at videos of trainers and you see them working this dog and you're like, I want that. I want what that trainer has. Like you have no idea what kind of work that person's been doing on or what they're dealing with. Not to also like. Not to mention the baggage that your dog may have.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things that have to be sorted out. Let's say your dog's super reactive, super aggressive, but you're looking at a trainer doing bite work, and you're like, oh, I want to do that, right? I've done that, right? I've been in that boat. It's like we got other things we got to worry about. We got other things that we need to tackle, and it's like you have these unrealistic expectations for your dog, and it's just going to hinder you guys, and then it's going to dishearten you because you're like, oh man, it's not working. This training's not working. Like, no, we got to put in the work and maybe adjust our goals and stuff a little bit. You know what I mean?
Now, when y'all see videos of Chad working Bane, you have no idea.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Yeah, you have no idea.
But it's also where they are in that progression.
Right.
Like you're seeing a snippet in time, a video
Right.
of that dog after X amount of time before that of training. Like, that's not going to happen next day, right? So don't get discouraged by that either. Just trust the process. Like, and that's why we always say, yes, it's an investment, but like, we're here for that support for the lifetime, because like, we want to get you to that point, right? And so it's just a matter of like that commitment, you know, it's a whole commitment.
That's why our group classes are format, like we have tier system in our group classes, right? Like
Oh,
people are at different levels in training. So it doesn't make sense for somebody that's been training for 5 years with us to be in the basic the basic level of people.
Right.
People are just, hey, we're
Entry
trying to
level.
get heel
Entry level
position down.
class.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like you break it out according to their progression, and you should be doing that yourself at home. Like where are you at? What do you need to work on? A lot of people try to just they just want to move fast, want to go. Like, hey, most of my follow-ups with my clients is hey, slow things down, back off a little bit. Like you need to master this heel position before we go on the walk. Be in your driveway, master this little thing, master it. We're trying to think big picture. I want to go on a hike with my dog. All right, well, to get there, we got to do all these other steps, right? That's I think a common misunderstanding with dog training.
Focus on your fundamentals.
Yep.
Also, you got to train yourself.
Yeah.
If you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got. You know, so you got to change yourself too. It's not just about training your dog. It's about training you.
Yeah, 100%.
Aaron, what are some common challenges in dog training?
That
Kevin has
I mean, I would say that no dog is the same, right? So like, kind of like tailoring off of what Chris said earlier, right? There's no black and white answer to any problem, right? You have to take into consideration background, their lifestyles, you know, and then what's in front of you. So being able to adjust on the fly, being able to adapt your plan, and then also as a trainer, being able to recognize if you need help, right? If you need to reach out to your coworkers or, you know, to someone else, like, hey, maybe I don't have the answers, right? So like just kind of troubleshooting together as a team and kind of going off of that, making sure that at the end of the day, you're checking your ego to help that dog, you know? So that's going to be the most important, but it can be the most difficult, you know, no matter how many years of doing it. Could be 1, could be 5, 7, 8, whatever. You know, being able to accept the fact that you need help, you know? So I think that could be, you know, and then being able to adjust on the fly. You know, it may not be, you know, the normal amount of repetitions or the normal amount of distraction sessions, right? You may have to put in more time with that dog, right? Which comes then you're maybe going into your personal time, or you're putting in a little bit more than, you know, what's necessary for another. But being able to recognize that and act on it, because it gets the job done.
Kevin, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I mean, I think, I don't know.
Sound like you did.
I don't know how like solo dog trainers do it, because
Yeah.
like in the group format like we have, like you said, we can rely on each other. She said, you may have the answers, you just might not be able to see it.
Right.
And then you start talking, you know, because it could be like maybe some frustration or something. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to Chris or Chad, and they're like, hey, why don't you try this? I'm like,
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or maybe you just need someone to push your buttons a little bit. You need some help with that?
Need some help? You sure you
You're
got
good
that?
at that one.
Well, that's, I mean, we do, like as humans, we get tunnel vision. You know what I'm saying? You're in the thick of it with that dog day in, day out, trying to troubleshoot all these things. And you're like, I mean, you're just sometimes that outside perspective. You need a calmer person that's not in the thick of it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, duh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You just needed that, you know, a little
That
bit of
grounding,
outside
you know?
perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if you're comfortable and like you feel like you have all the answers, it's time to retire.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's what people say about teaching. I feel like when you have a skill set, that's the general saying. So it's like if you're not constantly learning and developing, then something's wrong. You know, so
Complacency kills.
that's why I like the team aspect, because it's like something I could have ruled out, like that won't work, you know. And then we talk, and it's like, well, why won't it? You know. So it's like, I don't
Or
know.
maybe you just need to borrow someone else's food rewards.
Okay. Okay.
wow.
I got some that are missing.
All right, Kevin, give me one trick to teach a dog and how to teach it.
One trick. Like
One
a,
trick.
Like a parlor trick?
It's a trick, not your obedience.
I think you're talking
some
the
kind
wrong-
of trick. What?
I think Kevin's like me. We don't do dog tricks.
Well, you got to.
I mean,
Come on, tell me how to do a trick.
Zdeno does touch pads, and he can do like 5 at a time.
So I have 5. He only has 4 paws.
Well, I mean, I'll lay 5 out. He can switch between,
okay.
5 different ones.
I thought you were doing 4 paws on the nose or at one time.
It's just like a twister. But no, I mean, so for that, like, say, touch pads, which technically, I guess that'd be obedience because it's a prerequisite to some, like, service training. But for me, I use it as, like, a mental mind game. So for that, I mean, you break it down. It's, hey, let me guide him to where I want him, show him what I want him to do. Obviously, having the foundation of obedience is good because when my dogs go to a touchpad, I want them to seek it out, put 2 paws on it, then sit, right? Turn and face me and then sit. So if I guide them to it, shift their body, guide him into a sit while both paws are on there, then I'm just going to build repetitions of that until I can condition my verbal marker, until I can operate with it at a distance. It's just repetition, repetition, repetition at that point. But any trick that you teach, it's always to the fundamentals, to the learning theory. Guide them into it, shape the behavior, repetition, repetition. Take your time, and just start your conditioning from there. But yeah.
Chris, what are your top 3 things that dog owners are not doing that they should be doing?
Just 3?
Holy crap.
Top 3.
Dang,
Top 3.
Top? I don't even know. Dang. I think I need more time to prepare for that. Top 3.
Come on, I sent you the script
The
last
script was
night.
sent last
That's
night.
what Erin was-
what, like a 9 p.m.
Erin
as I'm
was
in
harassing
bed,
me
going
about
to
it.
sleep. Structure, lack of structure, lack of exercise, mental and physical. We'll put that in one.
Mm-hmm. We'll give that to you. We'll let you combine those.
I mean, well,
He wants
I'm
it.
trying to save one
He
more.
wants another one.
Lack of structure, physical, mental, exercise, communication. I'd say lack of proper communication. And that goes back to the anthropomorphism, right? So
Lack of communication or too much communication?
which is lack of bad communication. Like we're just talking to our dogs. Like we should be able to have rational conversations with them and them understand. They know when they've done the wrong thing. They're like, "Oh, you bad girl, you're bad."
The dog's just like looking.
Dog's like, "What the hell?" You know what I'm saying?
I tell him no, he doesn't respect it.
Right. Right. So it's like people over communicate, right? Or just it's just not there. There's just no the dog doesn't really understand. They're feeding off of your body language, things like that. So like that with a good training foundation and training, you can establish a good communication by probably doing much less than what you're doing. You know what I mean? 2 words: good, no. Make an association to those words. Good, reward, no, correction, right? Structure, I mean, that solves, it's like right off the rip, day one with a dog, whether it's a rescue, whether it's a puppy, like implement structure right off the rip. You know what I mean? That will solve a lot of your issues.
Like what?
So like managing where your dog goes, has access to in the house, has access to in the backyard, not allowing them to freely do whatever they want when they want, right? And again, this goes to anthropomorphism. People struggle with this. Oh my gosh, how can you do that? I'm like, my puppy now is almost 5 months old. He's just now getting limited exposure to free roam around the house. You know what I'm saying? For the first 5 months of his life, he's been either in an X-pen on a spot once he knew that, right, or with me on the leash or in his kennel. That's it. That's it. And that's not cruel. Like, I'm giving him everything else he needs. And then, like, obviously with the exercise things, I mean, just like we're seeing with human beings, I mean, obesity in dogs is insane. You know what I mean? It's like we're overfeeding them. They need 2 meals a day and they need to have all this, and it's like they're super fat, right?
Not just exercise, calories.
Yeah,
Excess calories.
Right, excess calories. But yeah, the exercise is a big one, just the mental and the physical. I mean, I've seen people that do a good job exercise. Like, I walk this many miles a day, but I'm still having, my dog's jacked all the time. Like, well, you're probably not doing enough mental things, like making them think through problems and stuff like that. So it's about the balance of both of those, because like most dogs don't need to have that hours and hours and hours of exercise every single day. You know what I mean? Even like your high drive working dogs don't necessarily need that. You know what I mean? You're giving them enough mental stimulation, it kind of levels them out a little bit. Yeah. So if I had to put, there's probably more on the list, but
your top
three. Those would be
your
my
top
3
3.
that
you
on a
gotta
whim
limit yourself.
that I got to pull out.
You got to limit you.
Yeah.
Aaron, what do you see other dog trainers doing that just really pisses you off?
I'm glad you asked her, not me. I'm glad to get us banned.
I would say, I mean, I don't really even bother looking at other dog trainers if I'm being honest. But
I'll jump in.
I'll
jump in.
I mean,
we'll push it to
I
Kevin.
mean, yeah. I would
push it
say,
to Kevin. Come
I
on.
would say
Keep it
just
G, baby.
not educating their clients to turning away, so recommending, this dog just can't be trained, or, this dog needs to be put down, things like that. Or, board and train, 2-week programs, things like that. You even sometimes, or just, weird methods, the spray bottle,
throwing things,
throwing bean bags at your dog
Shaking
to get them to
screws.
stop doing. If
they're doing the wrong thing, just scare the shit out of them. Be good to go.
But also, just one that's too far on the side of operant conditioning, right? So like only utilizing like certain spectrums or certain,
such as
like only positive reinforcement or only, positive punishment, right? So not being well versed in toggling through all of them. And like we've talked about, most of the times they are, and they just don't realize it. But then they're pushing onto their clients the mindset that anything other than this is bad, and is bad for your dog. Or just telling them, these weird rules they have to have on their dog's life. Well, your dog just can't go to the farmer's market, or your dog just shouldn't go here, or your dog's always going to be like this. So speaking in absolutes, when that's not necessarily going to be the truth, or that they haven't done all that they can do to kind of help them, I feel like. And that's brief.
Kevin,
for me.
do you want to add to that?
He definitely does.
Yeah.
Too much physicality, that's their go-to right away. Just just being way too rough with the dog. I can't tell you how many consultations I went in. They're like, yeah, we had a trainer come in, last week. They put a prong collar on the dog, pulled up on it, kind of made him sit. And in my head, I'm like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We want our dogs to be motivated to perform those things, not just, out of fear for what may happen. We want them to perform it because it feels good, because they want to do it.
Like, understand that, too. Like, understand what's going on there. When that trainer comes over, puts a prong collar on, and applies pressure, that consultation is really them seeing, how does your dog respond to pressure?
Yeah.
Oh, they responded pretty good. Yeah, so I can use pressure very quickly and accomplish accomplish all the obedience within 2 weeks, blah, 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 whatever. You know what I'm saying? Versus, like, what are we doing in a consultation? We're just looking at the dog. Like, we're going to meet you, talk to you. We don't even need to meet your dog. We're just looking at them like, okay, I see some insecurity. Here's how we're going to navigate that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Kevin. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Well, something that pisses me off, like what you're saying, Kevin, is like, you got these trainers on YouTube or whatever. What?
I'm not going to say anything. I'm
not doing any answers.
This is the one that gets
Kevin started.
This is the one that
Kevin
gets
got me going.
Hey, rants on it.
Kevin got me going. But the thing that pisses me off is you got these trainers like on YouTube, like you said, they're doing a private session or whatever. And they're trying to generate content, or they're trying to do something. And so it's the first time they met the dog. I got this super aggressive dog, super aggressive German Shepherd. It's the first time I met him. And they have the owner throw a muzzle on the dog. They're letting the dog act a fool. And they're probably amping up the dog to make it act a fool more, so they get the views on the YouTube or whatever. They got like a doggy pet cot, and they're like using it as a shield.
Oh my God.
They're using it as a shield. This dog's trying to attack me. I got to shield myself with this pet cot. Let me grab this prong collar, yank on the dog, yank this, yank that. This shit pisses me off because I'm like, you're not going through the freaking steps.
Yeah.
Like, why would you even do that? Why wouldn't you take your time and establish a relationship, And on this YouTube video, they get the dog sitting in 5 minutes with the muzzle on. They don't have to have the pet cot shield anymore, And it's like, you're a freaking idiot.
Yeah.
You're a freaking idiot. You're disgusting. Because what you should do is, instead of doing that, you take the time, right, to establish relationship, establish engagement, and build everything up. Why would you have the dog practice bad behaviors?
Yeah.
Why would you have the dog go into a stress state when it doesn't need to? You just need to take more time. That shit pisses me off.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
I can't tell you how many dogs I've trained to where, I'm thinking of one right now. A trainer walked in, looked at the dog, said, I can't train that dog. Nobody can, and left. I come and the dog's like, brr. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's
it's like, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. Come on.
That was something I was going to add to it. It's like the flip side of it, though. They won't even interact with the dog. They won't grab the leash. They won't do anything. They're just kind of verbally instructing, and it's just not setting anyone up for success. And also it's to a level of like, okay, like, why won't you grab the leash? I've talked to several people like that, where it's just like, we had a trainer come over, but she wouldn't grab the leash, or he wouldn't grab the leash, and they basically told me that, you know, we can't train the dog. And it's like, that's weird, you know? I mean, I'm not saying, you know, there's a level, right? Like you said, we go over, we're looking at the dog. But if you sign up for sessions with this trainer and you're in it, like, you know, and you're making progress, but they refuse to interact with your dog, there's a level to that where I'm wondering why, you know, or red flags are going up to a degree.
Too, if you're signing up with a trainer and they're recommending sessions for an aggressive dog that they can't grab the leash on because they're going to get major, you know, bites on them and stuff like that, instead of telling you, hey, this dog should need to go to a board and train so it can be immersed into a training environment and learn at a level that it needs to learn at from an expert, you know, then that's a red flag too.
Right.
You know.
My number one thing is it directly affects me, because you're out there, you're saying you're a dog trainer. When you give your opinion, they're going to think that that's going to be across the board. You know, how many times have we heard, oh, well, I've had trainer say that this dog needs to be put down. A dog is not even that bad, by the way. It's just the trainer couldn't do it or didn't know how or whatever. They're saying it needs to be put down. And now I'm like, not arguing, but the person's like, well, they said it needs to be put down. And as a professional, I can't just sit there and be like, well, they're full of shit. They don't know what they're doing. They're pulling that out their ass. In a certain way, I do.
Yeah, but just like anything in life, you go to a doctor and you get an opinion on something. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we got to amputate your arm or something. I don't know. Like,
going to a different doctor.
I might go get a second opinion. I might go and talk to some people.
Sure?
Which a lot of people,
you know what I mean?
But some people just take that at face value,
right?
And they're like, "Oh, well, I can't do this. My dog's, you know, screwed up. There's no help for him." You know, when there is. So that,
or you just make the call. You know, okay, well, this trainer said put the dog down. They put the dog down. Now they discover another trainer or something. It's like,
and that's one of the worst things, because everything that happens with these YouTube guys with the pet cot shields and these consultations that go before us, it directly affects everything that we're trying to do. You know, and that's the purpose of this: get the education out there. But
also, people watch the YouTube. They're like, "Oh, that should be done in 5 minutes."
Right?
You know, my dog should be doing this in 5 minutes. You know, why can't this be done in 5 minutes?
Again, false expectations goes back to that stuff.
I've had dogs where it's just straight up like 7-8 days of pure relationship. You know,
exactly. Exactly.
It takes time.
Chris, what are the pros and cons of doggy daycare?
I mean, I'm trying to think of a list of pros. Could be good socialization for your dog. Could be. Probably isn't. All right. Here's the deal. Here's the deal with doggy daycare. Here we go. Okay. Just you got to vet them. You got to vet your doggy daycare. All right. I worked at a doggy daycare. Okay. So I can speak from personal experience. Back in the day, I was in high school. It was a good summer job. Okay. Did a little bit in college.
Also,
too.
your girlfriend at the time.
My now wife.
Your current wife.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's make
she
sure
happened to work there too.
Yeah.
So
don't
we
get Kelly mad.
We know why you were working there.
Your girlfriend.
Also, my brother and my cousin. So it's kind of like a family deal. Yeah.
Family ordeal.
Here's the deal. We would have a shift of 3, maybe 4 people.
Wait, Josh was there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He did for a little bit.
Okay.
Anyway,
continue.
We would have a shift. Most of the time, it was 3 if we're stacked. Sometimes 2, sometimes 4. You know. And we could have up to 75 dogs, right? So, do the math. It doesn't take long. I'm not a math person. We know this. We know this, right? But 3 people working 75 dogs ain't gonna happen.
25 dogs per person.
So what's happening? Like we would have these 20 by 20 play areas, right? And again, keep in mind we're high schoolers. Right, so like we're not trained in dog behavior, or and now I've been around dogs, I know dogs. Yeah, okay, right. So like we would just throw dogs into these play areas to play, and like almost every time there'd be some type of dog fight, and it's like that's just part of, like, they got to work it out. You just throw them in there, they're having these little scuffles and things like that, right? And so like sometimes it would just work out, but a lot of times there were dog fights. We don't know what we're doing. We're like, the protocols were like, hey, just get these buckets of water, dump the water on them when they start fighting, and that would separate them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, to me, it's like utter like looking back at those experiences, knowing nothing when I did, but knowing what I know now, I'm like, dude, that was chaos. It's not good for dogs. Sometimes, a lot of times, yes, it worked out. There were times where like dogs were compatible, they're playing, they're having a good time. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's that aspect of the socialization that can be beneficial. Dogs play fighting and performing those rituals can be beneficial, but to me it's going to be more beneficial to do that in a more structured environment. You know what I'm saying? You're not there. We're not, like, the employees of the doggy daycare don't have 100% oversight over everything out of all those 75 dogs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So all it takes is potentially one incident for your dog to get bullied on or attacked or pinned down or something for your dog to make a decision. Hey, dogs are not bad. Dogs are not good, and I have to be aggressive, and now I have to fight. Now you have a reactive dog. A lot of our clients are like, I don't know where this dog reactivity came from. You know, the first question, do you go to doggy daycare? Yeah, every day, right? And it's like, and I'm not saying that like, hey, just because you send your dog to doggy daycare that they're going to become aggressive, but a lot of times that's an underlying thing that can be causing it. Dog parks, you can throw that in there as well. Throw that in that category. I would say, to me, just my personal opinion, there's more cons than there are pros to doggy daycare because you can't control the environment. I'm sure there are doggy daycares that are doing great things. You know, there probably are doggy daycares that have trained staff and people that can recognize body language and maybe make the right calls. So, like, I'm not trying to just, you know, shit on all doggy daycares. Like, I'm sure there are good ones out there, so you got to just vet them. So, yeah, I'm asking questions like how many people are, you know, on the shift. What I'm going to take a tour. I want to see what's going on, what's what. I mean, first thing when we get there, we let the dogs out to go to the bathroom, right? Like, all the kennels are in this big main area. We would just open the back run door and just open all the kennels. Loose, dogs just coming all out. You know what I'm saying? Dog fights happening and all that. Say, hey, stop that. We're just splitting them up. I mean, it's chaos. It's just chaos. So it's just not, it's not a good environment, especially if you've got other underlying things like your dog has insecurity, your dog has anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Like, or your dog's just a little bit extra. You know what I mean? Those dogs that have a lot of pent up energy and they're just a little bit crazy. Like some dogs don't respond well to that. You know what I'm saying? And they come at another dog, they come at the wrong dog with that energy and things are going to go bad. So it's just not enough that you can control for me to be able to recommend doggy daycares.
I did talk to one that they seemed pretty good as far as nowadays a lot of them will actually have a classification system for like play styles. Like one's like a push-pull play style. And it's whatever they've come up with for what they've recognized, but they'll separate them accordingly. But still, it's still at the core it can be chaos.
Sure.
You know?
I also just think the socialization is way more beneficial for you to do with your dog.
100%.
You know, like that's going to be way more beneficial than your dog just doing it on their own. When you drop them off and then you pick them up and like, you know, there is more at risk. Like then you don't necessarily know what happens. Like let's say, and just using your example, like my dog got a bucket of water dumped on him. I'm picking him up. I'm like, what is this? But that was the morning shift. I don't really know what happened. There's, you know, so there's room for errors there. But yeah, I mean, way more beneficial to have, you know, you taking your dog out and doing that with them, right? Like working on a recall, like all those things, if you have that foundation of training, are going to be way more beneficial to you and your dog than just it satisfying its needs on its own.
Don't outsource that stuff, right? You know what I mean? Like those are things you should take responsibility of. Don't outsource it to other people. Like, I don't know. Again, it ties into the anthropomorphism a little bit. I get that because people are like, well, I'm at work all day. My dog shouldn't have to sit at home. He should go and have playtime and have fun time and go to daycare and stuff, just like we would do with our human children, right? So it's like I get that aspect, but it's like you got to weigh the pros and cons here. And like I said, there's way more cons than there are pros. I really can't think of any under that structure. If the doggy daycare is operating like I just explained, like most do, I can't really think of any pros. There's a potential pro for socialization. Like Erin said, do that on your own. You'll get way more benefits.
Well, yeah, when you look at socialization, you know, definition is, you know, creating that positive experience in close proximity to new people, places, and things. Good job. So it was
Chad
drilled in there.
He likes his definitions.
So like a bucket of water or a dog fight that could seem traumatic, like there goes the positive. It's out the window. Right. So now we're regressing. And actually just made me think of something because I had a client recently that was complaining that they picked their dog up from daycare and they were soaking wet and dirty and this and that, and the people were just like, oh yeah, we don't know. And like
probably got a bucket of water dumped.
Right. It just I'm about to call and be like, I think I know what happened.
Well, for someone that feels like they need to send their dog to a doggy daycare because I work all day and this and that, what are some things they could do to alleviate going to a doggy daycare?
Get up earlier, take your dog on a walk.
Take ownership of your progression. Take ownership of your dog, of what your dog's needs are, just like you should with your human kids, right? That part that part is in line, right? But give them what they need as a dog. You know what I'm saying? We say in general an hour of physical stimulation per day. That's not unreasonable. I don't care if you work 12-hour shifts. I don't like, sometimes we work 12, 14-hour shifts, but I've got 3 dogs. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, you got to do it. You have to do it. Figure it out. How are you going to plan that out? Whether you split up that time amongst your family, whether you do it yourself, 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening, it's not that hard. And then you have off days too. Like if you're off or whatever, you can do more than that hour. But at the end of the day, you got this dog. Take ownership of that and what is needed to be done with that dog.
And if you absolutely had to, you could get like someone to come by the house.
Sure.
You'd have to train them to do what you're doing, you know, but you could get them to come by the house and take your dog out in the middle of the day or something like that.
Now that being said, there are situations people are like, hey, I got to go out of town. You know what I'm saying? I need to board my dog. I got to go. I can't bring a dog or whatever. So it's like I have talked to clients in that where whether let's just say our boarding is full or they don't live near us and they can't board with us, like that would be a conversation maybe with that doggy daycare. Like, hey, my dog does not need to partake in any kind of playtime or anything like that. Like, just kennel them, take them out to go to the bathroom, feed them, keep them alive. You know what I'm saying? Are they going to be pent up for that week or 3 days or whatever that I'm out of town? Yes, but that's going to be more beneficial than some incident happening. So I'm like, if you can communicate that with the doggy daycare and you're trusting that they're like, hey, no playtime, or we would have like these little 10x10s. So there were dogs that were like, this dog cannot play with others. So they'd be in that 10x10 by themselves. You know what I mean? So if that's like an arrangement you can make with your doggy daycare, because you got to board them when you go out of town and stuff, that's kind of the approach I would take.
All right, good to go. Any other thoughts on anything? Closing thoughts?
It's okay for your dog to be bored sometimes.
Don't
feel
or beneficial.
Your dog has to learn to be bored.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming. I mean, I was that person like I can't leave the house for more than 4 hours. You know, they're in the kennel, and then I would force them to be out of the kennel because it made me feel better. And then I came home to things being destroyed, right? So then there's a safety issue. So I'm like, all right, you're going back in the kennel. And then it's like, we've talked about this too. Put a camera up. Look at what your dogs are doing when you're gone. If they're not destroying something, most likely they're sleeping. And so they can sleep in a kennel, you know?
Well, we know pet dogs, for a fact, they sleep 80% of their day.
Yeah.
Pet dogs do.
I mean, if you're forcing your dog to be active like that all the time, like you could be creating, you know, some other effects, you know, of like your dog has to constantly be going, or they, you know, maybe some anxiety or some separation anxiety and things like that. So just be mindful, I feel like, of like
which not only being bored but being stressed. You know what I'm saying? Like stress is not a bad thing, right? Because how can we learn to operate, all of us, dogs, people, how can we learn to operate under stress if we don't know what to do or we've never been taught how to operate under stress?
Stress forces adaptation.
Right, exactly. So like a dog that has separation anxiety it's not going to be beneficial to let that dog be bouncing off the walls, roaming all over the place, chewing things up. Like, yeah, sure, he's still going to be anxious in the kennel, but he's going to be managed. He's going to be contained. And at a certain point, he will calm down. I don't care what anybody says. Like, they will calm down as long as they're not getting repetitions of busting out or escaping or whatever. And obviously, we got to make considerations that are not harming themselves and things like that. But they got to learn to go through that stress repetitiously, and that's the part people struggle with, that anthropomorphism, like, oh, this is cruel to lock them up. Like, well, we're not just locking them up, right? Like we're managing them, right? Just like I wouldn't, without any management, let my kid just roam off and not know where he is or whatever. Like, it's different between humans and dogs, and like this is a perfectly reasonable thing to do to your dog as long as you're also giving them everything else they need on the other end.
Yeah, there's a level of like, you know, I always think about my childhood. I was bored a lot, right? But you learn things from being bored, you know? Right now, I think we live in a society where there's constant stimulation, but we also have skyrocketing, you know, mental illnesses going on, you know, and things that are harming people's mindsets. And then we think our dog needs the same thing, which can then tailor them need the same thing. You know, they're not in a healthy mindset at all times. So there's a healthy amount of separation, of boredom, of stress. And it's like, just, you know, don't stress yourself out thinking your dog has to constantly be going, you know.
What do people do when they get bored? They pull out their phone. They look at their phone.
Exactly.
They can't even stand being bored themselves.
We put a screen in front of our kids' face, you know, at restaurants, because we don't want them to be crying. We don't want them to be, you know, I don't know, like play tic-tac-toe or something, like, you know. So it's just that's where creativity comes out for humans, right? When they're bored, they figure out how to occupy themselves, imagination. But for dogs, it's like,
you should see what they do in prison.
Well, I don't really want
That's
to.
a different podcast.
I don't want that. But
the
yeah.
artwork and stuff. Is crazy.
Or throwing poop at the correctional
Throwing poop at the crack.
Or artwork with the poop.
Yeah.
That's true,
Actually,
that's
yes.
I mean, obviously dogs are limited, but most of the times they'll learn, hey, I can relax, I can sleep, things like that. So, and that's good for them.
I've seen Zdeno just entertain himself.
Yeah.
If he gets
It's
bored.
cute.
He'll just like grab a toy, lay there. He's just holding it up in the air, dropping it into his mouth, and then resetting.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some of our sponsors and affiliates. Obviously, we are Canine Revolution Dog Training. So we have dog training, we have board and train programs, we have private lesson programs, we have virtual lesson programs if you're somewhere around the world, somewhere around the country.
UK. Maybe,
UK.
Maybe your remote callers have been banned. You need
Something
some help
like that. You
troubleshooting.
could reach out. We can provide you with support virtually. Our phone number is 843-213-2676. You can call us or text us. You can email us info@caninerevolutiondogtraining.com. You can also send us a message on a social media platform, whatever's easier for you. And we obviously Pack Talk Podcast. We are with Canine Revolution Dog Training. So we're trying to give you as much information as possible, podcast, YouTube, social media, so you can work with your dog on your own. Of course, we're here to give you that professional expertise as well. We're all professional dog trainers here, not a non-dog trainer, a professional dog trainer, right? So keep that straight. You know what I'm saying? If you're the listener,
Get it right.
keep that straight. We're also affiliated with Canine Revolution Apparel. So if you want to be good to go, you hop on Amazon, you click the link below, you get you a Canine Revolution logo shirt. Jake had one on last night. Was that your shirt?
No, that's his.
That was his?
He needs a bigger one.
He's gotten bigger. He's putting on
Getting
some muscle.
jacked.
Yeah.
He's putting on some muscle.
He's got to get back
Serious
on the
muscle,
apparel.
right?
Buy a new one.
Canine Revolution Apparel. We got the Canine Revolution logo shirt. We got the Good to Go shirt. Good to Go hoodie. Good to Go beanie. Erin, you know the beanies?
Yeah.
You like the beanies?
I like the beanies.
Okay. Well, you can hop on Amazon, grab you a beanie, you'll be good to go. Grab you a hoodie, you'll be good to go. All right. We got Guinea shirts. We
I
like
still
Guineas.
haven't got mine yet.
Kevin, you like Guineas?
I like it. I like it when they're not
Why?
teenagers. I like it when they're not honking all the time.
You like the chickens, Kevin?
I like chickens.
Oh, yeah.
They like me too for some reason all of a sudden.
Well,
They keep
yeah.
bum rushing my car.
Well, that's because Christopher.
No.
We're also affiliated with Jocko Fuel. So if you want to fuel your body, if you want to fill any nutritional gaps in your diet, you go to jockofuel.com. You pick you up some milk protein powder, protein ready to drink, protein cookies, wherever you need it, right? However you need it. Hop on to jockofuel.com, get you some protein. Protein's the number one macronutrient you need to be paying attention to. You get your protein good to go, then you worry about the rest, right? They also got the greens. They got the creatine. Erin, you know creatine?
Yep.
They got the creatine. They got the Jocko Go energy drinks, clean energy. Chris is drinking the blue raspberry today.
Gone.
Drank the blue raspberry. How'd you like it?
It's amazing.
What's your favorite flavor right now?
I like the 50-50. The
Well, this is a mango.
oh.
This is the new mango.
Oh.
Mango passion
Oh.
fruit.
I like the
Iced tea
sweet
lemonade.
tea. Yeah,
Yeah,
sweet
that's a good
tea
one.
lemonade.
That's a good one.
That's my favorite.
Don't be like Ben and open up your car door and Celsius cans fall out everywhere.
Sucralose, not good.
Right.
Here
not
we
good
go.
for you.
Here we go.
What's the matter, Erin?
He's drinking Jocko's. Come on.
Erin, what's your favorite Jocko?
Oh, the blue.
The blueberry,
Oh,
blue
yeah.
raspberry?
When
Kevin?
we were handing those out, I was stashing them.
Half and half are pink mist.
Wait, what'd you just say?
What?
We went to the vendor event. We're handing out our Jocko's, and you're stashing
That's why we
them?
ran out. That's why
We
we
ran out so fast because you were throwing them in
Is
your
that
car.
I
right?
just ran a race, guys. I had a whole training day
Is that where
afterwards.
that coffee one disappeared to?
Well, look,
You're like,
was
I don't know
slamming
what
them-
happened to
I
it.
was slamming them before the race.
look.
You know?
I was just making sure I was good to go.
They're good, and they'll make you good to go.
Yeah.
And they're good for you.
Yeah,
Kevin,
I
you
know.
like the pink mist?
I think I might like the 50-50
Think
better.
about
It's
it.
between those two, though.
50-50 is
I like
good.
those.
Yeah.
That's my go-to. I got 3 cases
I like
on standby.
Nice.
Cool.
At all
I ain't
times.
running out.
Code Singer
I
101.
ain't running out. Yeah. Code Canine Revolution.
Canine Revolution.
Go to jockofuel.com. Put everything you need to in your cart. When you're in your cart, put in the discount code Canine Revolution. You'll get 10% off. It's good for you. It's good for America. All right. So
And
just
it's good to go.
and it's good to go.
Could've
So keep that straight,
nailed
right?
it.
It's a good saying.
All right, our next affiliate, Canine Super Supplements. So we've already talked about taking care of ourselves with Jocko Fuel. Now we have to take care of our dog. We have to fill any nutritional gaps in our dog's diet. We're going to do that with Canine Super Supplements. You got your supplements in a powder form. You add it to your dog's food. You've got the joint support. That's for your dog's joints, okay? Your dog's tendons.
As
okay?
opposed to
You got the Canine multivitamin. That's for your dog's immunity, all right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys get that?
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's in your dog's immunity. Then you got the puppy formula.
Mm-hmm.
That one's for just overall development, whether it's a puppy, super critical for a puppy, but also adult dogs too, because it's got the tripe in there.
Good for that brain.
You get that extra protein profile in there. Then you got the weight gainer if you need it. If you have a high metabolism dog or a dog that struggles to gain weight, you know.
Or you want to build muscle.
Or you want to build muscle. I'll say this. It's probably not beneficial to overload your dog on kibble.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because you're going to overload their ability to process food. So now they're going to have runny poop, soft poop, because you're overloading them with kibble. So you know what you do? You get them on the appropriate kibble portion they're supposed to be on, and then you add in the weight gainer. Now you're giving your dog a healthy boost that it needs to get up to a healthy weight and add lean muscle. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So you can go to caninesupersupplements.com, the letter K, the number 9, supersupplements.com. Use the code Canine Revolution for 15% off. If you were to get one supplement for your dog to add into your dog's diet, I would say go with the joint supplement.
Done.
Because a lot of the stuff.
I'd say, unless you got a puppy, I would say puppy.
Formula is better?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Why you say that?
Well, I mean, good for. It has some of the same things that are in the joint one,
Right.
but it's also good brain development. That tripe stuff's really, really good.
Right.
So I might, Well,
So if you
I
got
mean,
a
get
puppy-
get both. But
Well,
if you
yeah,
gotta pick
but if
one,
you had to pick one.
yeah.
You're saying if you had a puppy.
If I have a puppy,
go with
6
the
months
puppy.
younger, I'm probably going to go with that puppy one.
Right.
And then it's maybe at the 6 months, maybe I'll switch him to the joint.
Switch to the joint. Yeah.
But I get all four. You know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
mean, I get all three. I get the joint, the multivitamin, the puppy. But if you pick one,
Yeah.
I would say get the joint
Yeah. Overall.
because it has those things in it that you're not going to get in other food.
Mm-hmm.
And we want our dogs' joints good to go.
Yeah.
We're looking for that longevity aspect in our dogs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Talking about dog longevity, that brings us to our next affiliate, which is We Feed Raw. So how would you feel eating cereal every day of your life with no milk in it?
I feel like it's basically my childhood.
Now, I'm not saying cereal with milk that ain't good to go, because, I mean, we all like
no,
cereal.
it's not really. It's not that good.
It's
to go.
horrible.
You don't like
No.
cereal with milk?
I mean,
I
not
mean, I
every
like
day.
it. It's just not
every
good.
day. Maybe like
Well, I didn't
once.
say it was good
maybe
for
once a
you.
month I'll have some cereal.
I mean, come on, Cocoa Crisps? Come on. Really? How about Fruity
That's
Pebbles with
Ben's
milk?
contribution.
Come on, Fruity Pebbles
I mean,
with
if
milk.
I had to do cereal, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Whoa, ew, that's
Ooh, now we're
scratching your
talking.
mouth
Fruity
all
Pebbles
up.
is that granny
You
and
know,
pap
it like
life.
hits
That's
the
why.
roof of your mouth.
No, because I chew my food.
mean, I'm
Anyway,
just thinking a lot.
anyway, we're getting off the cereal train. We want to help our dogs on that longevity aspect. You guys are going off on
That
cereal.
went crazy.
You guys
You
are going
asked.
off on cereal.
We feed raw
Okay.
sitting there like, what are they talking about? My food's Fruity Pebbles.
So our next affiliate, We Feed Raw, what they do is they deliver nutritionally balanced raw food directly to you. And so you can go on their website, you can sign up for a meal plan. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions about your dog specifically so they can recommend a meal plan for you. You sign up for a meal plan, you use the code Canine Revolution, that gets you 25% off. They ship that to you at a whatever schedule that you tell them to, or you can cancel it at any time, right? But what that does, you could do it a couple ways. You could get raw food. You could feed your dog completely raw food, right? You could do like a 50-50, 50% kibble, 50% raw, right? Or you could do 100% kibble, no raw. That's going to be disadvantageous to you, right? Because not, that nutritional profile that your dog needs for longevity.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So from my perspective, budget-friendly wise, you get that kibble, because there are some benefits to some kibbles, some benefits. You get that raw, you got all the benefits of that raw. 50 kibble, 50% raw. Then you add in your Canine Super Supplement on top of that. Now you got the whole package. You got the whole package.
Now you're good to go.
Now you're definitely good to go, right? But the thing about the raw food, that takes your dog back to the way their ancestors ate, out in the wild. Your dog ain't eating kibble because kibble ain't in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like eating, Chris? Yourself.
I mean, I'm a foodie, so
Right.
I mean, I like some cheeseburgers.
Okay.
Some
Well,
steak.
Cheeseburgers ain't in the wild, but steak
Mozzarella
Steak.
sticks.
Yeah,
well,
we
the
know
beef
it tastes
is
like
the beef of
mozzarella
the
sticks.
burger patty is. I'm just adding some extra. Those are my supplements.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The tomato, the ketchup.
90% of the food you eat, 80% of the food you eat, is it going to be a food that could be found naturally in the world, or is it going to
Yes.
be a food that is created?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, natural.
Process.
So we want to give our dogs food that's more natural,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we do that 50% kibble, 50% raw, we're getting them that natural aspect, right? Nutritionally balanced. Then we fill in the Canine Super Supplements. Now we got all nutritional gaps filled. Anyway, we feed raw, 25% off, code Canine Revolution. You get that meal plan specifically.
It's a
You get-
deal.
That's a lot.
Oh
That's a
yeah,
deal.
25% off. You get that meal plan specifically for your dog, and I have 3 dogs. So what I did is I made a meal plan for one of my dogs, and I just dispersed that food among all 3 of my dogs because I'm also doing 50% kibble, 50% raw to be more budget friendly, even with the 25% off code, because that definitely helps. You know what I'm saying? So check it out. There's a lot of dogs out there that have food allergies. There's a lot of dogs out there that have food problems, and you switch them to a raw diet, you can alleviate a lot of those things, right? So check it out. Let us know what you guys think about that. Use the code, get you that big discount that even shot Kevin.
I mean, that's
Kevin sees 10% off. He's like, eh.
Yeah,
15% off, whatever. 25%, Kevin's like, holy shit.
that's a lot.
So anyway, those are our affiliates, our sponsors. If you guys have questions, let us know. You can click the link below. Go check them out. And for all you dog trainers out there, training dogs the right way, treating people the right way, taking care of dogs and owners. Not the fakes, not the phonies.
not the phonies.
We're hiring.
Jabronis.
Right, not the jabronis, not the fakers. We're talking about the real deal dog trainers. Stay
Come on,
strong. Stay on your path. Being a dog trainer can be tough. It can be a challenge, and without a team, you can burn out. Which, like Kevin said, we're looking for good dog trainers to add to our team. Professional dog
Come
trainers.
on.
Take as many vacations as you want. Ask Erin.
Yeah, you can take vacation, as many as you want. I'm taking 2 this year.
I've already taken 2.
You have?
It's 2024.
Great.
It's
That
February.
doesn't count.
That's
Going
30
hiking.
days
I
into
took
the
a
year.
trip.
You're
You
taking
did a
2
return.
vacations.
You took a dog.
I mix business and pleasure. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So.
Me too.
Okay. Anyway, keep your head in the game, dog trainers. Keep the head in the game with your passion, your dedication, your discipline. Make sure you press on.
Hell yeah.
Help the dogs, help the people. Keep your passion the way it should be, right? And if you see fake and phony dog trainers out there, make sure you call them out. Make sure you say something.
Or bring them to the light.
Bring them to the light. But you know what?
Yeah,
a lot
they're
of
too
us-
far gone.
They got egos. They won't change. That's the problem. Maybe they will.
No.
Maybe they won't.
Nah.
Call them out. See what happens.
Yeah.
So, good to go. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Please leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Leave us any feedback. Let us know if we can help you. And until next time, this is Pack Talk Podcast.